for the whole world to realize that colorism is a problem, and it does have an effect on all people, not just black people.
Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn.
I don't think that we realize a lot of the time what we're actually saying and doing to our own race. Just being a young, dark-skinned black male, I've, like going after certain jobs, interviewing, certain jobs. The people that, have a lighter complexion, I always feel have an easier time going through the process. I think a lot of black people have this stereotype that light skin is better than dark skin, and that brings it back to, I believe, the society's viewpoint. Scholars, I would say that the reason for this thing we call colorism has a lot to deal with the institution of slavery and how the lighter slave, was able to stay in the house and the darker slave had to stay in the field and work. And I believe that a lot of the opinions and the thoughts that we have as black people now come directly from that. So when we see lighter skin tone people, we often think that they are superior than us just because of the color of their skin.
Are you listening? Damn.
First thing is relationships. And so like now, there's this wave of, our black sisters saying that, I need a man that's dark skinned, tall, and got a nice clean cut beard. And like I said, it's society's play on it because, throughout the times you've seen, like, we went from the light skin phase where everybody was on, the light skin bandwagon to now it's kind of like dark skin phase. And then you have it on like the movies and stuff. I just watched Girls Trip, and the actor Kofi, he's from Africa, and now everybody's like, all of the women are blowing up on dark skinned men. But 5-10 years ago, it was like, that's the light skinned. For me, in general, I've like always had this thing where like I can't talk to certain people based off of how they look. And I won't say that completely has changed, but what has changed is the idea of me like avoiding them just because of how they look. It's kind of like me opening up to a more broader range of people. The people that I look up to, I kind of like not try to, just because they, necessarily black, that's who I'm supposed to look up to. But like, I don't know if you know who Jadena is. I didn't even know that he was Nigerian until I did my research. So I think it's important for people to understand like who people actually are because, within the black community, there's so many forms of just being black. Just being black, that's just, their skin color. But you have, Brazilians, Haitians, Cubans, Dominican Republic, African Americans, and then you have a broad sector as far as African Americans go. As men, we need to acknowledge a lot of the things that we do, and even if we don't fully understand like what we're doing to a point, we need to acknowledge certain things. And I think colorism is something that men definitely can figure out through research or just generally through talking to other people. And from my perspective, I believe that one of the reasons why a lot of men may not enter this contest is because I feel like there's a need for it not to be discussed, and it's not as big of a problem as something like racism, when in actuality this can be a form of being prejudiced, because you're blocking off a certain group of people based off of how they look or perceive to look in your eyes. And you can relate that directly to any other type of form of being prejudiced. And so I believe that a lot of people don't want to hear certain things and don't want to believe certain things and don't want to see certain things when in actuality, those things need to be addressed.